So the San Antonio mission is a fairly big mission, I understand, compared to other missions. It goes up to Austin, and then Austin and above Austin, and then it goes all the way down to the border. So it's kind of like a triangle-ish kind of thing, where you have Austin, Georgetown up here, and then you have the border, Del Rio, Piedras Negras, which they know how to say that like a Spanish, like they speak Spanish. I don't really know how to say it, but Piedras Negras down here. And then they have a bunch of towns to the east that are smaller and smaller over here. And from my experience and from what I've heard, so I started in Kerrville. Kerrville was like, maybe it had a ton of members on the rolls, but only about like 150, maybe a little less or a little more, came to church faithfully. Maybe probably less than that. So the towns on the outside were usually smaller, and there were some branches in different places. Or just maybe there might have been one, I can't remember, but there's a few branches, but if you're in big cities like in San Antonio and like in Austin, the stakes are pretty big. They've got a fair few stakes in each city, and then those rewards are just like how you would view if you're from Utah, regular Utah awards. They're just very strong, from my experience, and just like a regular LDS award. So the growth has been pretty good. While I was there, I think they made a new stake in Austin, and it's continuing to grow so that they might need another one. From what I remember, if this is false, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure from what I remember, they're about to have another stake. There's a temple in San Antonio, which is super special. So there's enough members to justify having a temple there. So it's pretty strong. Religious climate, it's pretty diverse in San Antonio. There's a lot of non-denominational people. Those are probably the biggest churches. Church buildings are the non-denominational church buildings. But there's also a lot of Catholics in the area. So it's really diverse. There's Methodists we taught. There's a bunch of preachers that you run into, which is fun. Really knowledgeable people. Like we taught a youth minister, and he was one of the coolest guys we've ever taught. So there's like a lot of different religions. A lot of people. We met a few atheists even down there in Texas, and just all kinds of people in different walks of life. I think I would figure out a way to, kind of going back to what I said at the beginning like what I would do to prepare more. I would figure out a way to focus on others exclusively and not think about myself in the teaching process. Where I need to improve because of them. I need to be a good missionary and know my stuff and the doctrine because I need to help them out, not because I need to help myself out. So if I could have been more selfless, I think I would have done so much better as a missionary. Because I would think, what do I need to say in this instance? And I'd be so worried about that. But when times came where I was just like, I had a few just moments of clarity, or actually quite a few where I was just like, totally focused on the other people that I was teaching and completely worried about them and their needs and just listening to them, where it didn't matter what our lesson plan was. We had a direction because of it, but it was just whatever they needed, we were going to give it to them. Instead of thinking about our own needs and how do I be a good missionary, it was how do I help them have the gospel. So if I would change anything, it would be my entire mission, somehow figure out a way or learn to improve in a way to be as selfless as possible and just focus only on my investigators and only on the less active members. So I think that's maybe one of the biggest things that is a hindrance to helping less active members get back to the church today, is that people are just fulfilling callings. And I'm not saying like everyone does this. I know so many people who don't, who do it the right way, who do it better than I do it. But I feel like there's a lot of times where less active members just feel like people are only coming to them because they were given an assignment to fill, not because they are being cared about, not because people want them to have the best life they can have. They think it's more about the members who are coming to them rather than them being cared for and helped. So overall, just figuring out how to be more selfless and not think about myself. do as much preparation and improvement as much as I can as possible for the other people. But as soon as I'm in a teaching situation, just like, doesn't matter, follow the Spirit, and then do my very best to just help them. And think about what do they need to hear instead of what I need to say. What they need instead of what I need. I'd say what makes it unique is from the other missionaries in Texas is that it's the best mission in Texas. That's all. That's all I'm going to say on that. But no, I don't. What's unique? It's just a cool culture of religion in and of itself. Just because they have such a big cathedral there. There was St. Anthony or San Antonio. He came and settled it. I don't know the exact story, but they built a cathedral in his honor. That's where, and in the cathedral, something cool is where Daniel, oh, maybe not him, Davy Crockett, his remains, I think Daniel Boone or Bowie, one of them. But Davy Crockett and some other heroes from the Alamo, Colonel Travis, and I think their horses' remains are all in a crypt in the entryway to that cathedral. So we went and saw that one day, and that was really cool. So you have like the Alamo, and we started, like I talked about the Alamo, how we went and passed out Book of Mormons, Books of Mormon, whatever you guys want to say. Before that, there's a line that's in metal. It's a metal cast line in front of the face of the Alamo, and that's where Colonel Travis talked to the troops, and he basically said, whoever wants to stand with me to defend the Alamo and to defend Texas, step across this line, basically. And so they have us all step across the line. And I think there's one guy who was in a bed, and they like carried him across the line so that he could die with his people, or so that he could be there to defend the Alamo and Texas. And I think every single one of the people who crossed were killed, including Davy Crockett, Colonel Travis. And then there was one person, I think, who didn't cross, or someone got away somehow and was able to they were able to tell the story about the Alamo. So they have us stand, and then they read just a little thing talking about what I just talked about, and then they ask us to cross the line, to give our whole everything to the Lord and to serving His people. And so you start out your mission completely committing to the church and to God and to His people in Texas, to doing what's best for them. So that's such a cool starting point to your mission, to do that kind of thing. I served from December 2012 to December 2014. I started in Kerrville, and then after that, I went to the 6th Ward in San Antonio, in the San Antonio South Stake. After that, I went to the Indian Springs Ward, which is North San Antonio. And then from there, I went to West Zone in the West Stake, and it was, I served in a singles ward there, the Alamo 2nd Ward, which was super fun. And then from there, I went and served in a ward called Deerfield in the northern part of San Antonio. And I think, those are all my areas.